Okay, so I did a bunch of light research, as in I just watched a bunch of YouTube videos. And I must say, I have really bitten off more than I can chew. But I think that I at least have like a good start. So I watched a few videos on a pilot. So figure if you're gonna do a TV show, a good way to start a framework is to come up with what would your pilot be. So that's at least a good start. So I looked up some information about a pilot, but then I, previously started thinking, well, there's probably gonna be other things that I need to know. And I've recorded this probably around 80 times, this little section. But I have written down a bunch of stuff that I felt like I needed to also look into. I'll probably dig a little deeper on some of the subjects that I looked into. But I think what I'm going to do real quick is kind of just jot them all down and then figure out what makes the most sense to go into. So obviously probably pilot will be the first one. Kind of outlined my idea / concept, the philosophy of the ideas within the show, the characters of the show, the characters on the show / season arcs, and something about showcasing talent as a writer. I am not a writer. I'm barely even a speaker. Then the pitch, which is, everyone pretty much knows what a pitch is, but, the idea, your hook, 1 to 2 sentence map out of the premise and the philosophical conflict. If there is one, I don't really know what the philosophical conflict of the show would be. And then going into the structure of the pilot, which is your teaser, and your 4X structure, and then it goes into story circle, all that. But anyway, moving on to some older notes, and I have taken so many notes, it's not even funny. And I feel like I've barely scratched the surface, because I'm realizing a lot of times when people want to make a show, they usually have a team of people, and I don't. I have me, myself, and I, at least at the moment. So, you got to kind of figure out how to do everything yourself. Okay. And sorry, I am having a hard time going through this notebook to try and figure out what the hell I'm even talking about. So I looked into public speaking. Now, that isn't the most important, but if you're speaking, it's probably good to know how to do that more efficiently and just get stronger at it. I looked into how to make YouTube videos from a few different sources because this is probably going to be on YouTube first. It's good to know how that works, especially we kind of live in a YouTube day and age, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, that sort of thing. So I'm going to look into all of those just because you kind of need to know how to butcher the pig. And the YouTube video one was really interesting because it really mapped out a lot of stuff. Like, I didn't know anything about writing scripts, so I filmed that initial intro video probably 100 times. Like, it's pretty insane. I did not have like this 5 o'clock shadow when I started filming it. It's like a lot, and I'm like deciding on whether or not I want to put all those together to kind of show it. But I didn't write a script, so I just kept redoing it, and then eventually I just kind of had to say, this is good enough. The YouTube video part really goes into like script writing, intro, ending, and I don't know how much of this will be applicable for what I'm trying to do, but it's good and it may come in handy. Filming, editing, the packaging with like thumbnail styles, all that good stuff. Then I looked into project management. Now, for my day job, I'm a project coordinator. But if I'm going to really tackle all types of different ideas, stuff that's never been thought of, I figure really try to dig my teeth into project management and learning the step-by-step process of that will help me be stronger and more efficient at executing things and just faster. I just figure it'll help me be a more reliable person if I'm trying to help somebody else do something, even though I'm going to be learning a lot of stuff. But at least that sounds like a good skeleton to have. Writing video scripts I am realizing as I like ramble on and on and on that like having a good script is really important. And as I've been paying attention to other videos or film, even like lifestyle stuff like Anthony Bourdain, you do need scripts for cohesiveness and beats and to keep people's attention, or else I'll start rambling like I am now. So script writing, editing. So I watched a few videos on video editing. I am going to do some editing in this video just for sake of clarity, because I'm going to say a lot of ums and ahs, and I don't want this to be an 1.5 hour long video if I can help it. I'm trying to straddle the line of this being a very raw thing to start out with, and then when I go to put it all together, that'll be the more throw everything in the kitchen sink at it. Holy shit, I learned like so much about like A-roll, B-roll, the timing of stuff, then going into audio, what kind of mics to use, which, eventually I hopefully will get some mics that are better. Thank you, Chief On, for letting me use the nice ones that you have, but eventually I'd like to have my own. But, visual continuity, color grading, timing, sound effects in the background of things, ambient sound, the 12 principles of animation, sound design, how to structure, your acts or your story circles, whatever have you. I'm gonna look into like Instagram stuff of how a reel should be structured, how a YouTube short should be structured, and like what works with YouTube stuff. There were some other things I wanted to look into that I haven't gotten to yet. Lighting, and with the audio thing, music in videos, what kind of music, what kind of style, what makes you feel what. I think that's really it for now, at least in terms of this whole thing. So far, it's really the pilot framework, the YouTube style and information, the script writing, and how to edit videos. And like the project management and the public speaking stuff, that's going to be more about the show itself and less about creating the show. So with like the pilot, my idea and concept, so I'm going to have to kind of break down what this is and like what I'm trying to do, because I'm a little foggy on what I'm trying to do. So maybe I'll just break down the pilot and just rough draft it, rush it through, and then see what that's looking like, and then try to refine it. But I think what I'm going to do is talk to a few people in the field that can maybe give me some advice, some guidance, and interview them, and I'll film it and add it to this as well. But I think for now, I'm gonna get into the pilot stuff. Okay, so with the pilot, so we're gonna go through at least the one video I saw just to kind of get this going. So the idea. What is the idea? The idea is to create a television series or web series that is shot like a television series, based around bringing various random, whimsical, ridiculous ideas that I have to life, whilst also bringing other people's silly, wild, whimsical ideas to life and documenting the whole process as much as step by step can be interesting, to where with each episode you walk away having learned something new, hopefully, and I walk away having learned something new, and hopefully whoever is being helped with their idea walks away with something new and interesting that they've learned, and they've also gotten to finally do that thing they've always wanted to do. Now, how am I going to write this in a super clear, I'm going to stop real quick. I'm going to add writing to the list of things I need to research a little more heavily in. So I know I need to bring this down to like a pretty tight few sentences. And I've probably written this concept down a few times, but we can always revise it, and I'll talk to people, and hopefully I can get some help along the way that will help me to really tighten this as I practice this. So the idea is going to be to bring various ideas to life and document the entire process step by step. I don't like this one. And starting with personal ideas, eventually growing into assisting others with their ideas. Cool. Vague, but it will get the job done, I guess. So I don't know if this is in order or not, but I'm just going to at least go with how my scattered brain is going to go. So one of the notes I'm going to make over here is that these ideas are going to be broken down into 3 categories. So they're going to be small, which will be less than or equal to a month. You know, things like a dinner party, stuff like that, or like a party. So like just any idea that's kind of like with enough dedication, it could probably be done in less than a month. Medium, which would be 2 to 6 months. And large, which would be 6 to 1 year. 6 months to a year. I'm thinking ideally I would be working on a handful of things at once. So like a small idea faster while also working on medium and large ones in tandem. All right, so like, what's the hook? I don't really know if there is one. I don't really know if I have a hook idea right now. Like, I mean, I know personally I love watching kind of educational YouTube stuff like Hank's channel or like Adam Savage's Tested or Veritasium, like, you know, stuff that I'm just kind of along for the ride and learning something about it. And and like there's other more engineer, funny focused stuff like Michael Reeves or Alan Pan or anything like that. So like, I don't want it to be super silly. I'm hoping as I get a little more comfortable, I can make this like a lot less down the barrel. But like, what's the hook? Like, the hook is guy who has ADHD wants to do a bunch of shit, learn how to do it, and help others do the same. That's pretty much it. It's not anything crazy. Hopefully the ideas are crazy. Like stuff outside the box is what I'm kind of looking for. Or at least being present with ideas that can then be worked through and remixed enough to where it can be something interesting, you know, stuff like that. What is the philosophical conflict? That's not how you spell philosophical. What is the philosophical conflict of this whole thing? I guess my whole thing is that I always want to try to be a cheerleader for people and motivate them and be like, yo, you can do it. You can do it. Even if I like have to tell myself that, and I haven't even really done like that much in general. but I always want to see like people win and like actually go for whatever they want to do. And I also love like riding along with other people's adventures. So like the philosophical conflict, I guess, is that I want people to feel more empowered in tackling anything that they think of. So I guess I'll just write that down for now. And I think part of it for me is I feel like I've hit a lull in my life recently. And this feels like a really fun way and interesting way to approach injecting some more novelty into my life. This feels very exciting as like a way to package wanting to just do so many different things. There's not in life, there's not really too many avenues for like, like Renaissance people or anything like that. A lot of times it's like fusing things together and getting this new thing and kind of cherry picking from certain skills. But like, I mean, just literally being like, I'm going to just do all of the stuff. But I guess the other philosophical conflict I'll put down is I feel and maybe this is too I-centric. Maybe I'll have to get rid of that. I feel a lull in my life and want to inject more novelty and I don't want to say search for purpose, but maybe search for purpose and find a larger purpose. I guess that's the pitch. And then the rest from this is just about what is the structure of a pilot, your teaser and your 4X structure or a story circle. Okay. The first thing that I think I'm going to really try and figure out is I'm going to schedule an interview with some people that can help me with the pilot, right? And refining that and their advice, and maybe they can explain a bit better than me what a pilot is and some information about that. But I think my next thing is, I think from this point forward, I think I'm going to go for the script writing, and I'm going to start coming up with some basic kind of bulletin pointer scripts to kind of figure this out as I move forward with the videos. So I'm not trying to do actual scripts, but having maybe some things that I can bullet point and read off of will help me from rambling. So I'm going to say script writing, at least for YouTube, Instagram stuff. I need to break down the format of the show. So show format. Now, I've been juggling with this idea of making each episode its own art piece, so to speak, of like how I could envision like an intro looking or how it could start. And I kind of like the idea of like every episode you watch follows like a similar skeletal structure, but is kind of its own fun thing in terms of how the editing is done, in terms of like how I'm capturing it or what I'm doing with it. I don't know. Maybe that's too jarring. Maybe that's not interesting. But I want to like have fun with it. I don't think this would be a very fun project if I just kind of go straight down the barrel with it. I think I would just get really bored of I would feel like I'm just kind of a hamster on a wheel. But if I start out the first few episodes as being unpredictable-ish or vastly different from each other, I think that could kind of just set the tone that that's how this is going to be. And it'll probably be a bigger pain in the ass. I don't know. But I really want to figure out how to do that. But I don't know enough about editing or like the software or filming or any of that to really break the rules just yet. So I guess maybe I'll have to stick with that. But the show format in general, in terms of like the skeletal part, I'm thinking, and this is where the whole like project management comes in, but the show format I'm thinking would kind of go the idea, why I have this idea, if there is one, or if I'm helping somebody else out, interviewing them about it, like why they have it or they've always wanted to do it. And then a breakdown, like I'm doing right now, of what does this look like in terms of cost? What does this look like in terms of what's needed to know how to, like, what's needed to be learned? So, like, let's say you always wanted to make like a video game app on your phone. Like, well, we're going to have to learn coding and drawing and fucking, I don't know. Then I'd like to get into some research. So maybe like a rough breakdown first, and that like we can think of, and then go into some research, pop back with some facts about stuff that I've learned. And I think after we get past this point, I'm going to start giving you some more information on what I'm learning, even if it's rough information. Again, I'm not going to be an expert at anything, but I can at least kind of go with like a little fun fact of stuff that I've learned in case you didn't think about it. And then a rough draft of whatever the idea is, maybe some testing of it, and then do some edits from there, and then go into actually executing the final idea. So I think that's like a solid structure. It might change as I talk to people and do more research, that seems kind of silly. And I took some things I'm going to have to kind of understand really have to do with like editing, of kind of putting something engaging first, and then we go on to the rest of it. I don't think I'm really going to like keep showing myself doing research. I'm just going to explain what I'm going to be looking up, come back with some of the stuff that I found out, maybe get some feedback, and then that's about it. But I think for now, what I'm going to do is get the pilot stuff together, and then I'm going to film some interviews. And I think the next video I put out is going to be doing some better editing, hopefully, and having a little more knowledge and being able to talk about what I truly need to figure out next, and going from there. So I think I'm going to call it here. And I think I'm going to take this stuff, all of me talking and rambling, and I think I'm just going to chop this up, edit it as best as I know, and I'm going to try and polish this turd as best as I can. Take a week figuring out the rest of this stuff in terms of creating a pilot and learning the rest of this shit. This is so much. I don't think you guys understand how much. Like, you probably have a general idea, but like how much goes into doing all of this. Like, and like, even though this just seems like a YouTube video, like, it's fucking insane. And like, I'm so used to just being able to like chill at a bar and work through things, but like now it's like, oh, you have to like set down the camera, make sure the lighting is good. Like, this is wild. So, but I think it's going to be fun. So, but I think what I'm going to leave for my final steps to close this video out is I'm going to work on script writing, filming, like what are good shots, how should I shoot? So filming tips, etc. Editing tips, and polishing and tightening up the pilot premise and idea, and maybe coming up with some more stuff on how to package this and what I want the vibe to look like. Maybe like I'll do a mood board thing. So I think that's what the next episode's going to be, or not episode, but the next whatever we're calling this post is going to be. So one of the things I'm going to have to do, which I think I'm going to do next, is I'm going to create a YouTube and a TikTok page, I guess. Just that way I have them, because I'm pretty sure that would be like next steps, is just at least getting those accounts made. All right, script writing this week, filming tips, editing tips, YouTube, TikTok, and then interviews with those in the TV world, and maybe like any directors or anything like that, people who are knowledgeable. I think that makes sense. I think that'll be good for the next steps. So, all right, I'll talk to you all next week.